Hello, hello, hello. Test one, two. Perfect. Okay. All right. So here we are again, night two. This time we'll start off with actually using volume, which is always helpful when you're trying to explain things. Yesterday, about 4 minutes into the stream, I realized that I hadn't set it up right, but simple new mistake. We're gonna move on from there. Yesterday we started to talk about designing throwing objects, and we're going to go ahead and move on with that. So the concept is throwing, and in this role-playing game, throwing is going to be a thing. It's an important part of the game because in an action movie, sometimes you have to throw the clip across the room to your partner so that he can put it in the chamber of his rifle or in the magazine well of his rifle, load that round and fire it off. So, with that being said, I'm just making some considerations of how I want throwing to go. As GunCraze is a semi-realistic game, obviously takes place in this future reality, which may come true according to everything I'm seeing. But hey, you know what? What we're gonna do is just kind of walk through my thoughts, and we're actually creating this live. Like that, I didn't pre-create this. I'm creating this on the go. And if you happen to pop into any of these chats coming up, you actually can put your points in there. Say I like it or I don't like it. Give me some ideas if you want, and if you do, if your idea is good enough, I'd like to maybe meet you offline, talk about like a character creation concept, and see if we can use your character to, as long as the name isn't copyrighted in any which way, shape, or form, as we can use your character as an example character, something to that effect. So once again, let me bring up a couple different things. One is our website, GunCraze.net. All right. Stop by here, check it out. You can learn all about GunCraze here. You can learn about the GunCraze role-playing game. You can learn about GunCraze miniature battles. All right, which is it uses the GunCraze action tabletop role-playing system, just like GunCraze. They have the same rules essentially for combat. And what that allows you to do is you don't have to learn two different games, but you could play essentially two different games. One's a board game, one is a full role-playing game. All right, with everything you need to play. All right. Additionally, we have a link for Papsicles. Papsicles makes miniatures. They're absolutely beautiful. You can go through this link and get to his site. Check them out. Additionally, I have different videos here about the game, about how to play. So you can check all these out, and please stop by. Also, our links at the landing zone, also our links to all the other pages. Stop by and check those out as well, including the Patreon. We have a Patreon right now. So go ahead and what you're doing, what this support would do is it pays for us to go to local events and eventually, go further than that. Because GunCraze, everybody that's seen it or played it understands there's something special about it. All right, so go ahead and check that out. Additionally, our Facebook page, Instagram, and our X page. Check all those out and drop us a like and a follow. I mean, that'd be very beneficial. And we again have videos at YouTube as well that you can check out to learn more about GunCraze. That being said, I'm going to get into this throwing. All right, so I'm using a blown up version today. I have on the background, I have two smaller versions for reference if I need them, but I'm going to come back to this larger version so that the onlookers can read it. All right. So alternate ranged attacks. The below list types of alternate ranged attacks that can be made. All right. So alternate ranged attacks. This is kind of loaded because there isn't that many alternate ranged attacks, so I have to maybe think about some wording there. But for now, I'm going to just march on with it. A throwing attack. The following attack describes throwing. So throwing can be used for all sorts of objects, including ammo clips, shurikens, satchel charges. Throwing can only be improved through extensive training and experience. All right. Throwing attack requirements. Throwing attacks can be made with any object, a melee weapon with the throwing special rule, or a ranged weapon with the throwing special rule. All right. So these are important to note because when they're throwing, they affect what kind of damage is done. They also affect the range. All right. So I wanted to put in here a concept about weight, but I'm going to back off of that for now, and I'm just going to kind of move down to the next section. Throwing objects. Characters can throw objects. To make an accurate throw, players must use the following rules. You have to determine your max range. All right. Players must determine maximum range of an object being thrown. For thrown weapons, maximum throw distances are given in the weapon stat block. For all other types of objects, use the chart below as a guide. Throwing beyond the first range can only be done with an increased strength rate or with certain talents. All right, so the concept is to have as your strength increases, you'd be able to throw further, which sounds great, but again, I'm got to fight against it being clunky. All right, that it being too ridiculous. But I want a character to be able to hurl something. If he's really strong, to do a Hail Mary throw of a grenade into an enemy vehicle as it drives away. I mean, that's just perfect for GunCraze. I mean, it's an action tabletop role-playing game. It's supposed to represent 80s, 90s, and action movies of today. John Wick, not included, not included, but included, and so I have to think. I want a character that's stronger to be able to hurl it farther than somebody that's diminutive or small or hasn't put any abilities into it. So the general consensus here is determine a max range. All right, players must determine the maximum range of an object being thrown. For thrown weapons, the maximum throw distances are given in the weapon stat block. For all other types of objects, use the chart below as a guide. So this is throwing objects specifically and not weapons. Throwing beyond the first range can only be done with an increased strength rate or with certain talents. And those talents are listed in Chapter 3 in the talent section. Quarterback throw would obviously give you more range and more accuracy. All right. So right now I have it as small being 1 to 5 pound object. All right. I was going to change these weights based on strength, but now that I look at it, I'm adding distance to strength. So therefore, I don't need to change the weights. You're getting distance. It would be a double change for this, and it's unnecessary. All right, that would be way too much. So every now and then, I will do some formatting. Don't hold it against me. I'm always trying to keep the formatting up as we go. All right. So what weighs 51 pounds or more? We can a sandbag, a machine gun ammo crate. So that would be over 51 pound item. All right. And so large item, you could throw 5 whole squares. So a 21 pound item, 25 feet. That is pretty far. I'm going to have to reconsider that one because 25 feet. Yeah, I mean, is it possible? Yeah, but I would say it would be possible with strength. So what I'm going to do is, I originally had this down to 1 square. I think I'm going to go back to 1 square, or maybe. Let's see. I'm going to just do 1 square. I mean, just keep it like that, perhaps. So I'm just going to say you can throw this thing 5 feet. Oop, how about 5? And 1 square. 51 squares. All right. So now we're talking about the massive items. Want to have that in there once. Now I feel like there's a contention, or maybe the weights aren't just right, So we got medium being 6 to 20. Maybe small should go higher. I mean, a 10-pound weight, that's pretty heavy. I'm going to stick with that. But maybe medium, satchel, 20 pounds. That's pretty solid, too. So this is the kind of things that you create about, you fight about. You're like, you know, what does it represent? Is it going to be fun? So 50 feet for the medium. Maybe I'm going to go back to, I'll go back to 25 feet for this. And we'll just, because I think it'll fit better this way. 25 feet. For a 21-pound item, I could probably get that 21 feet. 50 is probably pushing it. So what I'm going to do is cut it off at a 40-pound, like a 40-pound bag of salt. That's on the high end. So now we're looking at 19 pounds here, 14 pounds here, 4 pounds here. So that's pretty acceptable. So 41 pounds plus sandbag, machine gun, ammo crate, and this will be your 5 feet. And that's your 1 square. All right. So that being said, we're going to, let's see, the above chart is just a guide, but you know what? No, I'm going to take that out. Next, determine the target number. The base target number for ranged combat check is below. Combat check. A basic range combat check against the modified target number. Alright, so the goal is you're throwing it, they're catching it. Alright, the goal would be to so there's throwing and catching. That's one of the parts about a throw. Something's thrown. When you throw it on your turn, it doesn't land until the beginning of your next turn. And the concept of that is that, and it may be the end of your next turn. That might be even better wording. And the concept of that is if you throw something to somebody, that they, hey, DYJJYR, thanks. Joining next stream with friends. Add me on Discord, Universe 63. I'll have to look into that. I'll try to grab you. But welcome. Anyways, so I'm still learning all the lingo and like, well, I mean, I have Discord and whatnot. My Discord channel is in there. Let me see here. How about if I get into it? Useful. Usernames have been truncated. Okay, let's take this off. Okay, let's take a look inside of the ATAR Gaming chat. Alright, well, if you, let's see, invite code. Not super fast yet, but I'm getting there. One thing at a time. Alright, let's see here. So that's the Discord invite link for my Discord if you want to check it out. That being said. Alright, so back into this. Alright. So we see the massive 41-pound bag, 5 foot square. We talked about, oh, here we go, strength, very important. For each rank they have in the strength attribute, characters add 5 squares when throwing small objects, 2 squares for medium objects, and 1 square for large objects. So a little adjustment maybe for each rank they have in the strength attribute. That means if you, so this is starting from 0. We have 25 squares, talking about a gridded tabletop. And so each strength point up to 10, all right, would get you to a total taking a small object and being able to throw it. That is a lot of squares. An extra 5 squares, so an extra 25 feet. That'd be 250 feet on top of, and I'm not even good with the short math there. One of you guys, math wizards, you know, down the road, you can correct me. But when I'm looking at this, I need to work on this. This is problematic. All right. So for each rank they have in the strength attribute, characters add 5 squares when throwing small objects. So right now I have a 25 squares, which is 125 feet. Mahomes can throw a football 200, I think it's almost 300 feet. He's amazing. He's one of the furthest throwers out there. If anybody knows Mahomes, they can correct me on that one. But he's one of the furthest throwers in the game, accuracy wise, and distance. So the quick math on that would be, if again 5 squares for every rank, and you can get up to 10 ranks if you fueled it the right way. So 5 per rank times 10 is 50 squares. 50 squares is 250 feet. That would make you able to throw further than the person who could throw the furthest, at least a football. So let's do research. This is what I do. This is what GunCraze is about, is having that semi-realism to make you feel like your character is amazing. For example, the speed attribute, it makes you, if you maxed it out without any cybernetic enhancements, it'll make you just slower than Usain Bolt. All right, because we're going to give that to him. He is the fastest man. He's ridiculous. He may as well be a cyborg in some ways. All right, so what we're going to do is say furthest throw of a football ever. See what it says. Okay, we got the ladies one, which is 94 feet, which is amazing. 70.5 yards, so 210 feet for our longest pass, which he threw back in 2020. Let's see. In 1983, Jim Plunkett threw a 99-yard touchdown pass. Well, now I'm starting to feel like this 300 is actually, right? It's not bad. 99. That's 100. That's 300 feet. 300 feet. He says, however, this is not as great as it sounds. I would like to know, like the, maybe he was throwing into the wind. Longest throw in history. Let's see. Is it possible to throw a football 100 yards? Quarterback Joe Milton can throw an orange 100 yards. That's 300 feet. So what we'll do is we'll adjust the original distance in this case so that we can get up to 300 feet. So we'll say a small object, 1 to 5 pounds, will end up at 300 feet. And in that way, we can back that off and know what our small distance is. So with a strength of 10 being just a powerhouse, and actually we can cut that back a little more because I have a talent that goes with it. That's the quarterback throw. All right, so I can come back 50 feet just from that. So a little math here. I'll bust out my handy dandy Excel because I'm an Excel guy. Hopefully some of you guys are Excel guys, and we'll just kind of look. Actually, you know what? Since we're going to be doing this on the game, I'll open up the GunCraze concepts folder. Lots of crazy notes in here, lots of past thoughts. Try to keep it all written down. All right. So let's do a little backwards math here. Right now we see some old stuff. This is the new ranges up here. I'm just going to hide these. These are the new ranges. Blow that up a little bit. Close, short, medium, long, far, and extreme, right? Based on the different type of weapon that you have. So what we're going to do is, again, we're going to go with 300 being the max. We're going to back it off to 250, and then so to get to 300, you need quarterback throw, which is a talent. Whoa, buddy. I don't need no column that big. which is a talent. All right. Then now we're talking about our increments and whatnot. So we already know that 5 squares per increment. If we kept that, 5 times 10 is 50 squares. All right. And 50 squares is 250 feet, which would bring us down to 0. All right. So that, I mean, and that might be something there. Is that a weakling can't throw 5 feet? No, probably not. So I just got to rethink that thought, rethink that concept. So maybe quarterback throw doesn't throw that far. All right. And then also when I'm dealing with your feet and squares, I have to stick with one or the other, and I'm going to go actually back down to squares because that's what really, when you're playing the game, that's what you're actually going to be dealing with. All right. So 300 feet, 60 squares. That is a heck of a throw in a game. I mean, most gaming tables I don't think have 60 squares, but that'd be awesome to see that. All right. So 60 squares for that. Obviously, we're going down to 50 squares for 250. All right. And if we went back 5 squares for each rank after that, again, we get a little problematic, but let's play it out. So let's say we'll just do this. Yay, Excel. Okay. And now we can adjust it kind of backwards from here. The quarterback throw may just add 10. So actually this might play out right. If I just say, hey, it's going to add 10 squares, which is still a huge bonus to any throw, what we'll do is we'll back that off to so this will be your 60. Your 50 is 250, right? And then as that's because it's a 10 gap. And then each one of these is going to be 45 times 5. Lots of fun. Computer, what is 45 times 5? 225. Thanks. Wait a minute. I lifted weights. I should know this. Oh, come on. Don't even stop. 4 45-pound weights, and the bar is 45 pounds, 225. That's a bonehead. That's what I get for being a Marine, though, right? All right, so, all right, so now that we know that that math is there, we can walk that one back all the way down to 0, and we could take a look at it this way and go, all right, now we're looking at 300. That's not horrible, but then again, it says somebody with a strength of 0 can only throw a apple 5 squares. That's really still not something I'm willing to go with. I'd like to stop at, I would like them to start at 25 squares for that, like I've been doing, but I can back that off. We can say 10 squares. I think that's a safe bet. So what we'll do is we'll say 10 squares is the start, and then if you went up by 5, let's go ahead and I'm going to add another column. Always using Excel for things. So 0, going up in ranks. Ooh, stop. All right. So if we go with 10, and now we go up by 5 from there for each one, and stop here. Now we get to 55, and what we'll do here is instead of doing math, we'll just go equals times 5, and we'll turn this into general formulas. Man, they're your friends. Use them all the time. So we stop up here. Oh, look at that! Come on now. We have this worked out. We have this worked out. This just happened. Okay. So we have this worked out. So we get up to 55 by 5s, and the quarterback throw, that'll get you up to 275 at rank 10. Take quarterback throw and it nudges you up to that 300, which is the record made. I mean, a quarterback. So I think that's a great move. What that'll do is it'll be, so it goes up here and it says this is only going to be 50 feet, which is 10 squares. All right, which is great. I know that now it kind of changes the whole dynamic of the thing, but as you have more strength, you can throw it further. All right. So looking at this again, so they add 5 squares when throwing small objects for each rank. If they make it up with all this rank to get up to here, and at any time they take quarterback throw, they get a bonus 5 squares. So then what we're going to do now is head over to the talent section of the rule book. Go to those ranged talents. I'm reorganizing right now, so you can see that there's some reorganization right up in this area, and I'm working through that. But that's actually what caused this whole thing, because I have this ability called Hurl Weapon, and I went to read up on throwing, and I actually, from all my revisions, I disconnected. I disconnected with that, so and now I have to reconnect it into the game. All right, so moving. So let's see real quick. All right, checking a message. That's all. Back to this. All right, so what I'm going to look for is that even though I haven't moved it yet, I'm going to find the quarterback throw, which is up here a bit. Quarterback throw, let me space it out so we can read it. Throwing abilities have reached an exceptional level akin to that of a professional quarterback. Your precision, distance, and control over thrown objects are remarkable, enabling you to strike targets with unparalleled accuracy and power. All right, you need that precise throw, range combat of 12. The cost is 3 talent points. So talents are like feats from, if you could imagine, 3rd edition Dungeons & Dragons, where feats were amazing. If you played those editions, you know what I'm talking about. You could piece your characters to go together beautifully. However, you only got 1 feat or every now and then, and it was like, why would you take this other feat? Because this 1 feat is so good. So what we did in GunCraze, we gave the talents, which resemble feats, we give them costs. So now you can say, oh, I can buy a 1 5-point talent, or I can buy 5 1-point talents. Which, if they would have done that in Dungeons & Dragons, would have been amazing. But hey, I'm just a game creator. What do I know? All right. I mean, GunCraze is my flagship game, mind you, but I've been working on it for a long time, and it has a lot of exciting ideas in it. And this is nothing against Dungeons & Dragons. I could pull out all my books right up there. I played as well. My goal is eventually to create a fantasy game as well. But I still love Dungeons & Dragons. It's in my heart. I love the products. I think they're beautiful. I love the creators. I think they're so imaginative. However, the rules people, maybe there's something to be desired. Always looking for a job, let me know. Just kidding. Actually, not just kidding. I'd be cool as heck to work for a company that makes games. But right now, GunCraze is like the focus. I want to get this bad boy rolling out. And that's why I'm here with you. It's a community-driven game. I want to hear your input. I want to hear your ideas. If you use my character creation and you cannot create what you want based upon the loose guidelines of what GunCraze is, then I need to know about it. I want to create that. I had a friend who said, "Hey, I want to be a drone controller." I had nothing for it. We built it together. We sat on a stream and we built it together like a year and a half ago. Gosh, time flies. However, GunCraze really got kind of, let me talk about that real quick, a little segue. Working on the game hard, going real strong until I got to pictures. All right. Actually, no, that isn't really what happened. Kind of like the pivotal event was when one of my, I was going to release an alpha book, basically to send out the rules, see what people thought about it, and let it ride for a whole year. But I got this guy, why would you do that? Just finish the book. And I was like, you know what? I will. But that required pictures. And as soon as I got into images, and I do a lot of my own images because images are extremely expensive. They're way beyond. And people will be like, well, there's AI out there. And I go, okay, well, I could use straight AI, but then I feel like I'm not done anything and that the AI did all the work. If I use any AI, it's as a guideline. I heavily modify it. I usually don't like the way it comes out. I draw a lot of things. I move a lot of things. I add missing fingers and add extra details to the face. Every single image that I have worked on has been edited by me in some way, shape, or form, or I've paid for it through somebody else. Now, I'm also going to add that this happened one time. I paid for an item. I paid $80 for a small drawing, black and white, and I'm pretty sure I got AI generated art. So that, now you get into this thing of, well, you should have them take a video of them making. I don't have time for that. I got to push images. Maybe down the road, GunCraze 2nd Edition, when GunCraze hits it off, because it will, because it's an amazing game with a lot of fun, things built into it. Maybe when that happens, then I can go out and hire those beautiful artists that do such great jobs and have full color images throughout the book, kind of like Dungeons and Dragons does and whatnot. And we work like that. But in this case, I'm just going to do the best I can with what I have. I'm not trying to broke my family over it. I'm not trying to go out and get a, $250,000 loan so I can pay for an artist to create things and argue over them. All right, not where I'm trying to go. So this is community driven, and it'll be community paid for. I never use $1 of any money I get through the Patreon. It never goes to my wallet. It never goes to my personal projects. I either buy tools, equipment, restock, supplies, or whatnot, what have you, to keep this game going. I sell models, Popsicles models. I sell them locally. They're at certain events through Eastern North Carolina. And through those events in Eastern North Carolina, the money I get for that, again, gets wrapped up right into the game. None of it has ever entered a wallet. It's never gone to buy any of my ridiculous hobbies that I'm a huge Warhammer 40,000 fan. I'm a Magic the Gathering fan. If you know those things, Dungeons and Dragons, Battletech, if you know those things, you could easily lose all your money on that stuff. However, no, I don't. People, I get gifts of Warhammer stuff for Christmas. I have a backlog that's ridiculous. There's just so much going on. All right. Not only that's out there. Another thing that I should take a moment to show you, and I have it up right now, is Wartop. So Wartop is an amazing tabletop simulator game. All right, made by Two Beard Games, and what they do, you know what? I'll take a moment just to show you, just so you get to see it. And what they did was they allowed a lot of us game designers, to take our games and go ahead and, I can't even see it on the stream. Oh, there it is. Ha, fair enough. And you can see down here we have GunCraze Miniature Battles. So when you get this game, it comes with GunCraze Miniature Battles for free. All right. You can, I'm just going to go ahead and do the offline game. All right. And what I can do is load. All right. Oh, let's see. Demo 3. Oh, let's go back to. So it's a beautiful 3D map. Oh, there we go. And these are using beautiful Popsicles miniatures. So you can actually play games with friends from a distance using Wartop. I mean, look how beautiful that is. That is absolutely glorious and gorgeous. And you can buy model packs, all right, And all these characters even come with the rules. So when you generate the characters, for example, let me close this out. I'm going to go ahead and spawn a character. You go to GunCraze, and I bought the content packs for myself. And let's say you have the character like Bellywise here. I can produce the card for him that has his rules. All right, as well as the faction rules. So this is the Jovial Mass on Wheels rules. Let's see here real quick. A little redesign on the side here to pick certain things that I wasn't aware they did some redesigns. Let's take a look. All right, so he has a card. His card. I wonder. How about if I hit the right key? Not trying to give you all a headache. Okay, his card does show up here on the right, and the faction card for him comes down here, all right? So these faction cards, you can move around, look at them. You can type in these boxes, all right, what you need. So if you're playing, this could be how you keep track of, the different characters. And keep track of their current armor, hit points, how many craze points that they're sitting on. All right. So Wartop is a beautiful game, and again, it has a lot of systems on it. It maybe a small learning curve, but not terrible. I mean, it's been a couple weeks since I've been in here, but the ability to play games with your friends online is just absolutely incredible concept. Also, when you get it, you have the full rulebook for GunCraze miniature battles. All right, this is an actual rulebook that you can find on Amazon. It's not very expensive. You should check it out. You can also find it at Wargame Vault. All right, and a couple other locations. All right. That being said, I'm gonna go back out of here. I didn't want to get stuck on that too long. But Wartop, absolutely amazing. Stop out. It's only like $13 maybe total over at on Steam. All right, so definitely check that out. All right, moving back to quarterback throw. Your throwing abilities have reached an exceptional level. Okay, as precise throw, except you add +6 to your basic range combat test. You also may adjust any hit locations by 4. All right, and what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and add, like we just talked about, based upon the chart. We're going to add 5 squares or 25 feet to the distance throw just for getting that talent. Okay, so no matter when you get it, you can throw small objects, very specifically small objects, extra distance. So as precise throw, except you add +6 to your basic range combat test. You may also adjust any hit locations by 4. Finally, add 25 feet or 5 squares to the distance to your maximum distance when throwing a small object. Bam! Look at that. Design is happening right here, and you guys are right in it. All right. That being said, we are pushing along. All right. So we're going to go back to throwing again. All right, here's your precise throw. So to do this, you need to have precise throw and a range combat of 12. So you are pretty good at this point when you pick this up. And this, I mean, range combat of 12 is pretty far into the game. Pretty powerful. Precise throw gives you accuracy. Quarterback throw gives you that extreme accuracy and distance because you know how to hurl something. Okay. What I'm going to do is make it back to the throwing section. So now we did the small object. Now we're going to go and we're going to basically shift these up. So now medium is the 25. So a 25 pound, or a 20-pound item, blah, blah, blah. And large is just going to have to be, what we'll do is we'll adjust this to 10. And we'll say something that's 11 to 40 pounds is medium. And large is 41 pounds plus. All right. And that being said, guess what? We're going to delete that entire row. We're just going to lose that for massive. And for these, it's going to be 5 feet. 1 square. All right. For each strength, they have the strength attribute. Characters add 5 squares when throwing small objects, 2 squares for medium objects, and 1 square for large objects, and that will work out. All right. Let's see here. We'll go with, I could probably add this damage concept to the chart above, but it's not terrible. For objects thrown, base damage is or the damage. Yeah, the base damage. For objects thrown, base damage is 1d3 for small objects, 1d6 for medium objects, and 2d6 for large objects. All right, so one of the things I want to think about as well is like, what is the maximum size of something somebody could throw? In case the question's asked, we want to make sure we ask those questions. All right. Formatting. Take a moment. Okay. For objects thrown, base damage is 1d3 for small objects, 1d6 for medium objects, and 2d6 for large objects. I think I mentioned it earlier. Strength is added. Let's see how I want to play that. All right, we'll leave that for now. For object thrown, base damage is 1d3 for small objects, 1d6 for medium objects, and 1d3 might be too much. I'm going to go down to 1. 11 to 40, 1d6, that's fine. And a 41 pound, if you hit somebody with a 41 pound, and I'm going to put a little asterisk here, all right, because this is going to be important. One of the things I want to know is, you know, how much can you actually throw? Like, what's the weight that you could throw, and where does that large fit in? So the concept here is we're going to go to determining our strength. So we'll go to the body attributes section. All right, so carry is 50. So basically, a character may throw up to half their carry weight. I think that's really fair. I mean, that means a rank 0 person can throw a 25-pound object, and that's it. Like, that's their maximum limit. But a strength 10 character who's gone to rank 6, which is the maximum you can go by buying, and took 2 perks to get to rank 10, he could throw a 190-pound item so many squares. That's pretty heavy. Perhaps. Perhaps. So, so that's what we'll do, is we're going to go ahead and do that math and just let it ride. All right. So what I'm going to do is get back into this sheet. Underneath here, I can put details. I have a details block, which should work. Wait a minute. What's going on here? Ah, hold on. Figure table sub. There we go. So in this section, you know, charts and whatnot, trying to number them and add certain things. I could go back and look. That's what I should do. Try to find the last chart I did and see what, if I even have a chart in here. And maybe the goal was I got rid of that. There's a lot of creation going on here. A lot of different things happen. So you gotta bear with me. I'm a little crazy. It will pass though. All right. I mean, this is a big rule book. Right now, sitting at 234 pages of just absolutely awesome fun. All right. Probably be like 280 by the time it's finished with all the pictures and the formatting. Maybe, just possibly. I got several other items to add. I've got skills to go through. What I'm going to try to do is each month finish out a section. And then some of the nights we get on here and when I do the stream, I'm not going to be actually working on this. I'm going to be working on some side projects for GunCraze miniature battles, basically creating new character cards. Also going to be painting miniatures for some Popsicles miniatures that I 3D painted. Different things, try it out, and be here just available to talk while I do so for people to ask questions. All right. That being said, what do I want to call this? All right. All right. So sling. Let's see. For object thrown, 1 small objects, 1d6 for medium objects. I don't know. 1d3 seems cool, but that seems, I don't know. Could be potential, like beating somebody. 1 point. I have my darts do 1, and a dart would potentially hurt you more than a bait. Well, I don't know. That's a good question. Would it? Would it? I mean, your strength bonus is getting added onto this too, right? So that's kind of a big deal. But let's take that minute and go back and look at the rule on throwing weapons to make sure that there's no conflict. All right, so I'm going to head down to weapons. So moving through skills, weapons, throwing. Let's take a look. Weapon with throwing special rule is specifically designed to be thrown by hand. These weapons can either be ranged like a dart or melee weapons that have been expertly balanced. Unless otherwise specified, weapons with the throwing special rule have the default range of close. All right, so that's just a throwing attack, a little different than whatnot. So that's a good question. You know, this is a range for the attack. This is not just throwing an item. I want, you know, they should probably be combined. Like the concept should be combined so there's not, so there's better continuity between the two. So now you get into this thought process of, all right, well, how am I going to play that? All right. So I could say have a default, unless otherwise specified, weapons with throwing special rule. Use the max. have their maximum weapons. Do not use range increments because they don't. But their max and their maximum range is based upon the rules listed in chapter blah 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 9. Let's double check. Sometimes, again, the old ticker here. So we're talking about I did a chapter combination for rules. I combined 8 and 9, so 9 might be 8 now. No, it's not. Okay, good. Happy days. I must have put it back. But there you go. So now we're going to talk about Chapter 9 Combat. So I'm going to say Chapter 9 Combat, and then refer straight to... Look at those pictures. Come on, man. Let's go. Let's go. Look at these pictures. They're great. I know I flick around. It's part of it. Bear with me, okay? Bear with me. Alright. Range attacks. Alright, here we go. Yeah, so... and it's called throwing attack. Alright, so when I go back to this... Chapter 9... Alternate ranged attacks... Throwing attack. So attack roll adds either the exotic weapon bonus or the ranged, basic ranged combat bonus. Alright. So some exotic weapons have their own bonus. That means you can train on them, like darts. Not everybody can throw a dart, right? You'd think it would be simple to throw a dart, like in Dungeons & Dragons. I think dart is considered a simple weapon. But actually, most people I know are ridiculous at throwing darts. They couldn't hit the broadside of a barn. So I turned it into an exotic weapon. So that's kind of a cool, fun thing. Real quick. So the fantasy version of GunCraze, which is nothing's written yet, but a lot of the concepts are already in front of you. It's going to take, instead of having all the gun types, it's going to have bows, crossbows, darts, slings, all that other fun fantasy type ranged weaponry, and it's still going to have its and then it'll have like swords and whatnot listed, or whatever, however that works out. And the rules will essentially be the same kind of concept. So yeah, this is going to work out great. The rule sets are going to tie together very cleanly, so that you can be like, you know what, I'm going to allow, fantasy, bow talents in my GunCraze game because it's cool, because I'm adding magic to my GunCraze game because I want it to be a magical world too. Then you could absolutely do that. It's your game. That's why the biggest thing that I could talk about tonight. We only got 6 minutes or so together left before I cut it off, but it really comes down to being your game. I mean, it's art. I'm the one creating it. I get so much input from fans and from players and my play testers. There's just so much. So I do hope that you do come in, you see this stream, and that you stop by and you come give your own ideas. Hey, I'm curious. I like that, or I don't like that. I'm a hard guy to shift. I'll be honest. Like, you could be all up in arms about something that I've done or haven't done, and I'll just have to say, hey, I'll think about it, which generally means no. But I mean, just to be fair, just be upfront and honest. It generally means no. But I don't know. I've changed enough. Again, it's your game. If you ever buy a copy because you're pleased with it, which would be great, You can change it as you want. It's your game. It's your game. You can just like, I don't like this part. I don't like this. I'm going to do this. You know what I mean? So don't get hung up in what the book says. It's a guideline. It's a book. The gun master is the guy. All right. So the guy or gal. All right. You know, women can be ruthless too. As a matter of fact, GunCraze loves powerful women. We have several of them as main characters that have been building over time. Um, Lots of great stories of female players and female characters, or male characters with female switch that. Um, Male players with female characters. I usually play a female character in my role-playing games because guys like to play guys, and it's not that I like to play women. I just like the concept of, I do like to play women. I like the concept of using women's innate abilities to deceive men or stab them in the back, or, you know, be unpredictable and beautiful and things like that. So, GunCraze is always, you can do those things. Talk about just random things for the next 4 minutes. We're going to leave throwing alone for now. Probably play with it later on this evening, get it all tailored up, show you guys next time. But let's talk about some of the chapters that we got going on here in GunCraze. All right, I'll use the bigger, more blown up version. Okay, so let's talk about attacking and defending. All right. So GunCraze uses opposed rolls, which is a big deal if you've never played a game with opposed rolling. So this means that when you're being attacked and it's not your turn, you get to participate in the game still. You get to do things, even when it's not your turn. All right? And some people could say, well, that makes the turns longer or we're clunkier. You know what? So be it. It's worth it. Once you get practice at it, it becomes fast. Like all things, you're not expected to know the entire rule book. Just like Dungeons and Dragons, most people don't know the entire rule book. You just know certain parts of it, and as you're exposed to it a few times, the concepts are simple. Roll opposed dice. Whoever got higher wins. All right. You add up the bonuses. Whoever got higher wins. If it's tied, goes to the defender. All right, and that's just the basic rule. All right. So, that being said, I'm going to go one more place real quick. All right. And what I want to show you is, again, GunCraze Miniature Battles. The rule book, it came out July 3rd, 2023. So we're moving on 2 years that GunCraze has been out. I definitely want you to check it out, all right? Got a review on it, 5 points, or 5 stars. I've got the UK version has a really great review on it. I do think that you will find these rules very enjoyable. You do provide your own miniatures, but I also provide the character cards for free. All the character cards that you can use to play, you can represent them with any character, even if it shows, you know, a dude. You can make it a female character that you have. That's completely within the concept, as long as everybody knows what the model is when you sit down at the table. But what you do is you go to guncraze.net, you head over to GunCraze Miniature Battles, you go to your character card library, and you can look and see all these different character code archetypes, or all these character archetypes, all these factions, and you can click into them and play something. Now I'm going to take a minute just because I have a really good friend. Her name is Anna Mosquet, and she has her website, and what she writes is books. So if you, let's say you don't have a sci-fi concept, all right? Behind Blue Eyes is an amazing storyline. All right, you have to check this out. If you haven't read a good sci-fi book in a while, this is really great. All right, it's a little sexy, but it is high action. I mean, it fits GunCraze so to the point that even when I was creating character cards, I ensured, with her permission of course, that I created a character to represent the main character, Nephilim. And she is an absolute beast. This is a character that's more for fun. You can use these cards in your role-playing games because the rules are the same. So if you're a game master, you can say, hey, I'm going to go ahead and use this card against you, or I can use any of these cards and play these characters against you like a monster manual, if you will. All right, it has all their attacks lined up and everything. But that being said, I'm going to close out on that note. Do check out Animosicat's website. It's ANNAMOCIKAT.com, and check her out stuff out too. She's amazing. All her Space Punks is amazing. Everything she writes is amazing. If you need ideas for how to run a good sci-fi game, check her out. That being said, if you need a good sci-fi rule set to play with, I recommend my own game, obviously GunCraze. All right, so to get the most recent copy that's working, I can't spell, head over to the Patreon, subscribe. All right, once you subscribe, you can download all the stuff that's on here. I mean, there's a lot in here. So you get the current, you get the campaign guidebook for Days of Reckoning. It's work. A lot of this is work in progress, right? Miniature Battles Rulebook, the one that we just showed, $10 value. You get that right away in PDF form. All this in PDF. Cyber Saga 2 Mission Guide, Gunmaster's Guide. That's it. A lot of this is work in progress as I build it. Cyberpunk Bar and Warehouse map. You get different maps. You get character management sheets. All right, check it out. Subscribe. Download all that stuff. Check it out. If you like it, stay subscribed. If you don't like it, unsubscribe. But go ahead and take that rulebook, read through it, get some friends together. Let me know if you get a game together. It's really important stuff. But that being said, I'm going to go ahead and close it out. I hope you all have an absolutely fantastic night, and thank you for your time if you stopped by to watch. Take care.